Let's talk about why you can't relax even when you're successful. Have you heard of positive intelligence? The hyperachiever is one of 9 accomplice saboteurs in this framework, and it's responsible for why you can't relax, no matter how many achievements, accolades, promotions, or titles you happen to collect. I've coached hundreds of senior leaders in their emotional intelligence and awareness of their saboteurs, and almost all of them walk the negative edge of hyperachievement at some point in their career. Every single client who has become aware of this fact has leaned into balancing that negative edge by flexing 3 emotional intelligence strategies that I'm going to give you in this video. So the negative edge of the hyperachiever, it shows up in things you've heard before: imposter syndrome, not enough, fear of complacency or the laziness trap, and comparing yourself to other people. And inhabiting these states can be quite a heartbreaking experience because the struggle is often done in silence. As a hyperachiever, you do not want to talk about this with other people. Fake the happy face, the achiever on the outside while struggling on the inside, is a very normal experience for the hyperachiever. Talking about what's really going on would reveal a secret that often feels too big to reveal because it sparks this fear that other people are going to see your prickly parts. They're going to see your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses. And because you, as a hyperachiever, don't love those parts of yourself, you fear that no one else possibly could. So your nervous system stays on high alert. Your patterns keep repeating themselves, even though on occasion you might hear the whisper of your wisdom. Your wisdom is whispering, you are enough, you are valuable, you are important, you are successful, you can relax, you can take a holiday, you can close your laptop, turn off the phone, and take time for you. And just as you hear those thoughts, the fear quickly steps in to sabotage. The saboteur puts you back in the looping narrative that you must stay vigilant. You have to keep pushing, learning, growing, networking, building, investing, and not just on the usual. You have to do it bigger and bolder, more important, more visible, more eyes on it, more responsibility, more risk. What lies ahead on that particular road is never a life that is fulfilling, and it doesn't yield wellness or well-being. You know this to be true, don't you? Because you're noticing the signals that are concerning, the chronic stress that shows up, heart palpitations, nervous stomach, chest pressure, the revving, ruminating thinking. It distracts true focus. You're up in your head way more than you should be or need to be. Perhaps more to the point, there's often a deep, deep knowing that this is not the way to live, an exhaustion. And that's why you're here. Your solutions live within your emotional intelligence skills. And the most powerful of those EI skills is your self-regard. These are the 3 mental practices to build your self-regard and combat the hyperachiever saboteur. The first one, start to balance your thinking using the power of the word and. And it's a small word, 3 letters. Here's one that I've used. I need to complete this client proposal and reserve an hour for my workout. That word and provides space of value for both me and others. My thing for me is just as important as the client proposal that I need to get out, rather than saying, I can't get my workout in today because I have to get this client proposal done so that I can close the deal and I can make money. This phrase, the latter phrase, it puts you at a lower value state to other things, to other people. It places your achievement as greater importance than your health. So using and equalizes your value and importance, while also improving your ability to find the solution that exists in the statement. How are you going to get it done? How are you going to do both things, your health and the client proposal? The second mental practice is to expand your identity. A really crucial piece within self-regard is the connection of your value to things other than your achievement. And your worth and value is found in 5 specific areas: your attributes, your personal values, your skill mastery, your nurtured, healthy relationships, and finally, your self-compassion, self-respect, self-love, the relationship you have with you. So what's necessary to do is to take time to discover and write down what yours are, and then reinforce these 5 areas and components through mirror work. You basically stand in front of a mirror in the morning and the evening, and you train your brain to default to thinking of yourself through these 5 areas rather than your achievements. You say what you've written down out loud, because when you connect your value to these things, you foster inner stability. You become grounded within yourself. You have peace and contentment. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I too am a hyperachiever, or I can default to that. Peace and contentment, won't that make you lazy or complacent? If you're not revving all the engines at once, won't you lose everything? We start to ask these inner questions of, how will I ever achieve anything that is important? How will I earn a living? How will I pay for those vacations, the home, the car, and on and on and on? Will I be important to other people if I'm not constantly revving, constantly visible? But that's what your fear wants. Your fear wants to give a megaphone to your saboteurs. But haven't they lived rent-free in your head long enough? Now, the third practice is your ability to use standard deviation to what success metrics can look like. Here's an example of how I use standard deviation. When I run a marathon, I arrive at the start line with 3 definitions of success. Get across the finish line. That is the lowest metric of success. And I will do it however I need to do it: run, walk, crawl. The second metric of success is get across the finish line in a specific time. That's a mid-level. The third is get across the finish line in a personal best. That's the highest level of success I can achieve in facing this particular moment. Because success, when you apply standard deviation, is more than a tiny dot on a dartboard. And that means the uncontrollable variables are acknowledged, but the controllable ones, your inputs, that's what you can claim. Part of your inputs we did in number 2, your attributes, your skills, your talents, your self-mastery. And when you expand your success metrics, your self-regard improves. It elevates to a state that you don't chip away at yourself. When you're chipping away at yourself, you are decreasing energy and focus that you need for your goal. You're literally sabotaging yourself. So expanding and giving standard deviation improves your performance capacity. Here's what I know for sure. I know for sure that you are the barrier and the solution. I know that your emotions will always nudge you when your thinking is caught in the saboteurs. Your emotions will signal you. You'll feel the negativity of the negative saboteur thinking. That's your alarm bell. When you notice this, use any one of these 3 mental practices. They stabilize your thinking. They ground yourself in your wisdom. And it will allow you to break free of your imposter syndrome, your comparison, and your not enoughness.